My ex appeared after 5 years with a child claiming he was my son. I demanded DNA test and it was 0%. But my sister sided with her, and together they humiliated me outside my job with signs. What I did next left them speechless. I'm 29 years old. I work in digital marketing for a mid-sized company, and honestly, I still can't believe all of this happened to me. What I'm about to tell you sounds so absurd that if someone else told me this story, I'd probably think they were exaggerating. But I swear every word is true. About a year and a half ago, my ex-girlfriend from college, Victoria, contacted me after 5 years of no contact, and she basically tried to completely ruin my life. And the worst part, what really destroyed me, was that my own sister decided to help her instead of believing me. I guess I should start from the beginning, so everything makes sense. Victoria and I dated for 2 years when we were in college, like from age 20 to 22. It was a normal relationship, you know? Nothing special. We got along well, we had things in common, but when we graduated, we simply went our separate ways. She got a job in another city. I stayed here, and things just naturally fizzled out. There was no drama, no big fight or anything like that. We just stopped talking. I think the last time I heard from her was like 6 months after we broke up. She sent me a message wishing me happy birthday, and that was it. After that, nothing. Zero contact for 5 full years. My life went on normally, honestly. I got a decent job, moved into my own apartment, dated a few people, but nothing serious. My family is pretty close-knit, or at least it was before all of this. There are 4 of us siblings total. There's Nathan, who's 2 years older than me and has always been like my best friend besides being my brother. Then there's me, Derek. After that there's Lauren, 3 years younger than me, and the youngest who doesn't really come into this story because he was studying abroad when everything exploded. My parents, William and Susan, were always the type who tried to stay out of conflicts between siblings, but who ended up getting involved anyway. You know what I mean? Everything was fine until one day out of nowhere, it was like a normal Tuesday. I get a message from Victoria on Facebook. 5 years without knowing anything about her, and suddenly she writes to me, "Hi Derek, I need to talk to you urgently about something very important." I was like, what? Honestly, I thought maybe she needed a job reference or something. I don't know. Anything except what came next. I responded with something casual. Sure, tell me what you need, and she insisted that it had to be in person. That's when I started to feel something weird was going on because, why all the mystery? But I agreed to meet her at a coffee shop near my apartment on a Saturday afternoon. I got to the coffee shop and I almost didn't recognize her. She had changed a lot in 5 years. She was sitting at a table in the back, and when I approached, I saw there was a kid with her. A kid like 4 or 5 years old, playing with a toy car on the table. I sat down confused, and Victoria looks at me with this super serious expression and tells me, "Derek, meet Mason, your son." I swear I felt like someone had thrown a bucket of ice water on me. I sat there unable to process what I had just heard. I tried to speak, but she continued. "He's 5 years old. He was born 9 months after we broke up." The first thing I thought, after the initial shock, was that this made absolutely no sense. We were always careful. I mean, we always used protection. There was never a scare or anything like that while we were together. And besides, 5 years? 5 years and now suddenly she shows up with this? I said, wait. I need to process this. If that kid were mine, why didn't you tell me anything in 5 years? And she got all defensive, saying she had tried to handle it alone but she couldn't anymore, that she needed help, that the boy deserved to know his father. Everything sounded rehearsed, like she had prepared a speech. I told her I needed a paternity test, that I wasn't going to accept anything without being completely sure. And that's when the whole circus started. Victoria got really upset. Started with, how could I doubt her? That she wasn't a liar, that the kid was identical to me, which was ridiculous because the kid didn't look anything like me. Not at all. I stood firm. I told her, look, it's not personal, but it's been 5 years. This is something very serious and I need to be sure before committing to anything. She kept resisting. Said that DNA tests were expensive, that it was offensive that I doubted her. Basically gave every excuse possible. but I didn't give in. In the end, I told her that either we did the test or there was nothing more to talk about, and she kind of reluctantly agreed, but she was obviously furious. I hired a lawyer, Rebecca Torres, who helped me with the whole legal process of the paternity test. She was super professional and explained all my rights. Basically, she told me, don't sign anything, don't admit anything, don't make any payments until we have confirmed results. We scheduled the test for 2 weeks later at a certified laboratory. During those 2 weeks, Victoria didn't stop sending me messages, like every day, saying that Mason missed me. How was he going to miss me if he had just met me? That she needed money for diapers and food, trying to make me feel guilty. I simply didn't respond or told her to wait for the results. The day of the test arrived. The three of us went to the laboratory, me, Victoria, and Mason. The process was quick. Just swabs in the mouth and that was it. Victoria was the whole time with this attitude of, see, I told you. When the results come out, you're going to feel horrible for doubting me. I didn't say anything. I just waited. The results were going to take like a week. That week was horrible, honestly. I couldn't concentrate at work. I wasn't sleeping well, the whole time thinking about what would happen if the results said I was the father. How was I going to handle that? 5 years of the kid's life that I missed? How would it affect my current life? But at the same time, something inside me knew. I just knew it wasn't possible. Our relationship timeline didn't add up. We had been careful. Something wasn't right in this whole story. The results arrived. Probability of paternity, 0%. 0. Nothing. I wasn't the father. I felt like I could breathe for the first time in 2 weeks. I immediately called Victoria and told her, the results arrived. I'm not the father. Total silence on the other end. Then she started with, that's impossible, there must be an error, we have to repeat the test. I told her no, that the results were clear, that I had gone to a certified laboratory, that this was over. She became hysterical, screaming that I had manipulated something, that I was a liar, that she was going to prove that I was the father. I hung up the phone. I thought that's where it all ended. How naive I was. A week later, we had a family gathering at my parents' house, one of those Sunday dinners we do every month or so. My whole family was there. My parents, Nathan, Lauren, some aunts and uncles. In the middle of dinner, Lauren confronts me in front of everyone. Derek, I found out what you did to Victoria. I froze. What? She continues. Victoria is my friend from college. He didn't even know they knew each other. She told me everything. That you have a son and you refuse to take responsibility. That you're leaving her on the street. I tried to explain. Lauren, it's not like that. I took a DNA test. The kid isn't mine. But she wouldn't let me speak. She kept interrupting me, saying that DNA tests can fail, that I was a coward, that I was oppressing a single mother. Nathan tried to defend me. He told Lauren to listen to me, that I wouldn't do something like that. But Lauren was completely convinced that Victoria was telling the truth, and I was lying. The dinner turned into a total disaster, with Lauren yelling at me trying to defend myself, my parents confused, asking everyone to calm down. In the end, I left feeling like I had gone 10 rounds of boxing. What hurt me most was realizing that my own sister believed a person she barely knew more than her own brother. But wait, it gets worse. Like 2 weeks later, I'm at my office working peacefully when my boss calls me. Derek, I need to talk to you now. I go down to his office and he tells me, there are 2 women outside the building with a sign saying, you're an irresponsible father. They're yelling and bothering employees coming in. I felt like I was dying. I go outside and there they are. Victoria and Lauren, with a huge sign that literally said, Derek is a deadbeat dad, yelling things about how I abandoned my son, that I'm a bad person. There were people recording on their phones. Some of my coworkers were there watching the spectacle. It was the most humiliating experience of my life. I tried to reason with them, but it was impossible. Victoria was screaming that I had falsified the DNA results. Lauren was screaming that I was an oppressor, that I was using my male privilege to victimize a vulnerable woman. I called security and they were removed from the property, but the damage was already done. My boss called me again and basically told me, Derek, understand my position. This is bad for the company's image. If this continues, we're going to have to take measures. I mean, he was threatening to fire me for something I didn't even do. I called Rebecca Torres again. I explained everything that was happening, and she told me we should send cease and desist letters immediately. We sent letters to Victoria and Lauren, basically telling them to stop the harassment or face legal consequences. Did I think that would stop them? Of course not. If anything, it made them worse. Lauren and Victoria started a complete social media campaign. They created posts on Facebook, Instagram, even TikTok, with photos of me, don't know where they got them from, saying I was a terrible father who had abandoned my son, that I refused to pay child support, that I had manipulated DNA test results. They tagged my company, my friends, my family. My phone wouldn't stop ringing with people asking me what was going on. The friends I hadn't seen in years were sending me messages saying they had seen the posts. It was an absolute nightmare. My parents were devastated. My dad, William, told Lauren that if she didn't stop, he was going to stop paying for her apartment. He was still helping her with rent because she had just started a new job that didn't pay very well. My mom, Susan, tried to stay neutral, said surely there was a misunderstanding, that we should all calm down and talk. But there was nothing to talk about. Lauren had decided I was the villain, and that was it. The straw that broke the camel's back was when they organized a literal protest outside my work. Like 20 people. I don't know where they got so many people from, with signs and chants about irresponsible fathers. My boss called me to his office and told me, Derek, I'm sorry, but this has gone too far. We're going to have to let you go if this isn't resolved immediately. That's when I realized I had no choice. I had to take serious legal action or I was going to lose everything. Rebecca filed a lawsuit for harassment and defamation against Victoria and Lauren. The lawsuit included all the social media posts, the incidents at my work, the harassing messages, everything. We asked for compensatory damages for emotional distress, damage to my reputation, and potential loss of employment. We also got a temporary restraining order against both of them, prohibiting them from approaching me or my workplace. Victoria got really scared when she saw the lawsuit. Her lawyer must have told her she had no case, because she decided to reach an out-of-court settlement almost immediately. She agreed to pay a significant amount in damages. He can't say exactly how much, because of the confidentiality agreement, but let's say it was enough to cover all my legal expenses and more, delete all social media posts, issue a public apology, admitting that I wasn't Mason's father and that she had lied, and sign a permanent no-contact agreement. She basically admitted that it had all been a lie from the beginning. I never found out why she did it, whether she really thought I was going to pay without asking questions, or if she was simply desperate for money and decided to try it. But honestly, I don't even care anymore. Lauren was more difficult. She insisted she had acted in good faith, that she really believed she was defending a victim. My dad made it very clear to her that if she didn't resolve this, he was going to cut off all financial help. We had to go to a conciliation meeting with a mediator. It was super uncomfortable. Everyone sitting in a conference room with the mediator trying to get us to reach an agreement. Lauren cried for like half an hour, saying she had only tried to do the right thing, that Victoria had deceived her too. I yelled at her, she yelled at me. The mediator had to intervene several times to get us to calm down. In the end, Lauren accepted a similar agreement. She had to pay damages too, although less than Victoria because technically she hadn't started the original lie. She had to delete all her posts, issue her own apology, and sign the no-contact agreement. My mom ended up helping her pay because Lauren didn't have enough money saved. It was like 6 months of legal process in total, 6 months of absolute stress, of not being able to sleep well, of being constantly anxious. Today, basically a year after everything ended legally, things are weird. I still work at the same company. My boss understood the situation when I showed him all the legal documents proving that I had been the victim. My reputation eventually recovered, although some people probably still have doubts. It's horrible how that works, you know? A lie can spread super fast, but the truth takes much longer to catch up to it. With Lauren, I don't talk. At all. Zero contact. She tried to reach out a few months ago. She sent me a long message saying she understood why I was angry, but that she was also a victim of Victoria, that she missed me, that she wanted to fix our relationship. I didn't respond. Nathan tells me I'm being too harsh, that she made a mistake, but she's still my sister. But I don't see it that way. She had every opportunity to believe me, to hear my side, to see the evidence I had. She decided to believe a stranger instead of her own brother, and not only that, but she actively participated in trying to destroy my life. That's not just a mistake, it's a betrayal. I don't know if I'll ever be able to forgive her, honestly. My parents try to stay neutral, but I can see they're devastated by the situation. Mom cries every time there's a family gathering, and Lauren and I aren't in the same room. Dad is disappointed in Lauren. I can see it in his face every time they talk. Nathan has been incredible through all of this. He always believed me. He always supported me, even when the rest of the family doubted. Last week, I ran into an old friend from college who had seen some of the original posts before they were deleted. He asked me what happened with that situation with the kid. I told him the whole story, and at the end he told me, "Man, what a nightmare. I'm glad you got out of that." And that's exactly what it was. A nightmare. A nightmare that lasted more than a year, and that completely changed my relationship with my family. Sometimes I wonder what would have happened if I had simply given in at the beginning. If I had started paying without doing the DNA test. I'd be paying for a kid who isn't mine. Victoria would have gotten away with her lie, and I would have been the fool who let himself be deceived. It's scary to think about how many men are probably in that situation because they didn't defend themselves or because they didn't have the resources to fight. I don't know what Victoria's original plan was, whether she really thought I was going to believe the kid was mine or if she simply bet that I wouldn't ask the right questions. What I do know is that she almost destroyed my life and that my own sister helped her do it. That's the part that still hurts the most. Not what Victoria did, but what Lauren did. I can understand an ex trying to take advantage. It's horrible, but it happens. But your own sister, your own blood, betraying you like that, that's something I can't fully process even now. I guess the only positive thing that came out of all this is that now I know exactly who's on my side when things get tough. Nathan proved to be the brother I always thought he was. My true friends supported me without asking questions. And I learned not to take anything for granted, to get everything in writing, to protect myself legally. It's sad that I had to learn those lessons this way, but, well, that's life, I guess. Now I'm focusing on rebuilding my life, on leaving all this drama behind. I've been going to therapy because all of this definitely affected me more than I want to admit. I have trouble trusting people now, especially women, which I know isn't fair, but it's the reality of how I feel. My therapist says it's normal after a betrayal like this, and that, with time, I'll be able to work on it. The truth is, I still get angry when I think about everything that happened. I get angry with Victoria for creating this elaborate lie. I get angry with Lauren for believing her blindly. I get angry with society in general for being so ready to believe a man is guilty without even seeing evidence. And I get angry with myself for having had to go through all of this, for having spent thousands of dollars on lawyers, for having lost months of my life dealing with this chaos. But at the end of the day, I came out of this. The evidence was on my side, the truth was on my side, and I won. Not everyone in this situation is so lucky. So I guess that's why I needed to tell this story. So that other men who might be in a similar situation know that it's worth fighting, that it's worth defending yourself, that it's worth demanding the truth, even when everyone is against you. And also, so that people understand that false accusations exist, that they cause real harm, and that we need to take them seriously instead of automatically assuming the accused is guilty. I don't have a perfect ending for this story because there isn't one. My relationship with my sister is broken, and I don't know if it will ever be fixed. I still have occasional nightmares about losing my job or my reputation. I still get nervous when I see Victoria on social media, even though she can no longer contact me. But I'm here, I'm okay, I have my job, I have my life, and I have the truth on my side. And for now, that has to be enough.